Hi everyone, this is Kelsey and I'm the Vice Chief of Editing of the World Update. We're the branch of the GNS Inc. that are going to be responsible for presenting you with encouraging and uplifting news and updates that are happening within the local, regional, and global things that are going on. We feel there's enough bad news being broadcast in our lives, so why not hear something good? Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at _the_U_. Let's update and uplift.
Yo. Sit yo stankin' ass down and tune into the E.I.T.H.R podcast. My daddy D.Cal is talking. Bitch.
Hey everybody, what's up? This is Sabrina Jade, and you're listening to the E.I.T.H.R podcast with D.Cal.
So, let's start with the E.I.T.H.R.
You're listening to the E.I.T.H.R podcast with D.Cal. Welcome to GNS Entertainment.
What's up, everybody? Happy Monday. It's your boy D.Cal here at the E.I.T.H.R podcast in Northern California from the GNSHQ. I want to say it's a pleasure to be here today. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. To all the new listeners, welcome to the E.I.T.H.R podcast. To the existing returning listeners, I appreciate your time. So we're going to go ahead and get episode 68 going. Anyone who listens to the podcast knows we love to start this thing off with giving a shout out and some inspirational, motivational words of encouragement. And that's what we're going to do. But I want to make sure that everyone has the social media. So if you were kind enough to follow us on Instagram as well as Twitter, the handle is the same as E.I.T.H.R. For any of the previous episodes, you're more than welcome to follow the channel on YouTube and just search for the parent company, which is the GNS Inc. GNS INC. Subscribe to that, and you'll be able to see the previous 67 episodes of the podcast. Or you can go ahead and download the Spreaker app, Spreaker. It's like speaker, but with an R. That way you can communicate, chat, message with I during the E.I.T.H.R podcast. So today, we're going to get into a couple of topics that you may have seen in the description already. But like I said, we're going to stick to the schedule and routine of what we always do, which is to give a shout out. And this is the second time I've done this since I've been doing the E.I.T.H.R podcast, and it's going to go to an in-house shout out. We're going to give a shout out to GNS Entertainment. GNS Entertainment is responsible for the music that you hear in the background of all the episodes here at the E.I.T.H.R podcast. We were able to get a hold of a distributor, however you want to pronounce it, for all the grammar Nazis out there. We're able to get a hold of a distributor for the instrumentals and music that you hear in the background. So in the next few days, you're going to be able to use some of the music that you hear in the episodes and hear music moving forward that GNS Entertainment has been able to produce through this platform on your social medias. So you'll be able to use some of our beats on your on your videos, on your pictures, on your duets. Instagram, Facebook, stories, TikTok, so on and so forth. Which is great. Because originally we were just trying to create sounds for people to have music on their websites, which is what we do for our websites, for the businesses that we have here under the GNS umbrella. Then it became, hey, why don't we do this over here too? So, okay. So we were walking down one path and came across another door, and next thing you know, we're branching off into our branching off. So, words of encouragement to piggyback that. Listen, man, money has no bedtime. Understand that. But what does have bedtimes are shifts and schedules, where if you have a shift or if you have a schedule, you got to get some sleep. You got to go to rest, get some rest, because you're supposed to be at this time and you get off at this time. So you need your sleep. For those who are trying to build reality out of a dream, the excitement is going to keep you awake. And money's going to be there around the clock. So if you keep your focus on your goal, on what it is you're trying to achieve, the money's going to come. Money doesn't sleep. It doesn't rest. It doesn't stop. So at any time of the day, any time of the night, if you're able to go get that money, knock that goal out. And what I recommend for anyone who has that type of mindset, just like I do, the earlier you attack, the sooner you can move on to the next task. And if you have a to-do list of things you need to knock out in order to achieve your goal, the sooner you get that done, the sooner you can reward yourself, because that's very, very important, very, very crucial. So, words of encouragement, man. Money doesn't have a bedtime. So, go get it. Go get it. Listen, some of these words of encouragement and these inspirational, motivational things that we say here at the E.I.T.H.R podcast, it doesn't fit everybody. It doesn't fit everybody every single day. So there might be days, there might be moments, there might be messages that may not be for you, but it might be for the next person, so on and so forth. So just keep your imagination open, keep your mind open, and take everything what sits well with you, keep it. What doesn't, fuck it. Hand it off to the person who does fit. We're going to get right into it after a word from my sponsor. Be right back.
Crush all the struggles and pressures that get in your way, big or small, minor or major. We all are fighting demons that others do not know about. But it's how you handle it that makes it look easy. Shop at Mile.today. Again, Mile, MILE.today. Mile.today.
This is Dave in Auburn, California, and I'm listening to the E.I.T.H.R with Decal.
This is a GNS Entertainment exclusive.
Welcome back, everybody. So let's go ahead and get into this topic I want to address real quick. I was going through some of the media apps that I have on my phone. And again, for those who are new to the E.I.T.H.R podcast, we do try to come at everything from a non-biased, more of a balanced approach, if you will. So even though my perspective on certain things may not match what yours is, it's all about everybody having at least informed opinions, more informed than you had before listening to the topic that we're speaking of, or the topics that we're speaking of. But this shit's stupid. I'm sorry. This shit is stupid. So, I just peeped out an article where, God, I hate doing this political crap. We'll just say there was a political party out there who felt that the woke agenda had went too far. And they felt that the M&M candies were crossing the line. So, M&M candies, if you guys know, you may have seen some of the animations where they have the candies themselves, different personalities. They're huge during halftime shows at Super Bowls, right? Well, allegedly, supposedly, apparently, they crossed the line with some of the characters. I believe the article stated the purple M&M was a little too inclusive with everything that's going on in society, and I believe it was the green M&M or the brown M&M who was the woman. She was way too provocative with her glasses and her whole physique and her high heels. So Eminem had to change that to where she's now wearing sneakers. You know, because kids are watching these commercials, and we don't need any woke agenda, associated with the candy we eat. So instead, what's happening now is they're getting rid of the personalities for the candies, and they are bringing in actress Maya Rudolph, which is cool to me. That's fine. I believe she's going to say what she's going to say when she says it regardless. But I just think it's stupid. Listen, both sides of politics are idiots, and this is another way to divide the people. I think it was Chris Rock who once said, liberals will intentionally leave out information that is needed to make the story whole and sell you what they want you to hear. Conservatives just flat out lie. My A1 once gave me this analogy where the best way to describe liberals and conservatives, at least in today's world, your liberal would feed 100 people in hopes that in belief that one person is hungry. Conservatives will starve 100 people in belief that one person is lying about being hungry. It's kind of how that works. I think that this whole last episode we kind of talked about where do you get your information from. And it's so annoying because I was also watching this video of the governor in Florida, which we spoke about last episode number 67. And I think it was frustrating is you take phrases and terms that were created in urban communities, our own dialogue, and then when corporate America or the suits get a hold of these phrases, they twist them and use their own manipulative ways to sell it to their base in a fear tactic. Again, we talked about this last time. We're going to speak about it right now again. Woke was never a derogatory thing. Woke was to be aware of injustices and racism and social equality and matters that were being done, but in a sense that the wool was pulled over your eyes. That was the purpose of being woke. It was to be aware. It's no different than what if a woman was telling another woman, all right, girl, now be careful. Watch your ass. Or, hey, just a heads up. When someone's making a point about something that's detrimental to everybody, and someone is making the group or that person aware, the purpose of woke was to be that. So, for the governor in Florida to now tell people Florida is where woke goes to die, you have to be very, very cautious and careful of what they're telling people. It's, hatred is spewed in a lot of different ways. And I'm not sitting here saying that, liberals don't have their fair share in manipulating what's going on as well. Like I said, if there's three parts to a story, man, there's a great chance that the conservative or the liberal side is only going to tell you 1 to 2 of those parts. Because the third part, there's no way for them to manipulate that to control you. So we're going to bring this back to the topic of the M&M. I'm just going to read this in part again. It's from the app of Newsbreak, where it says, candy maker Mars said Monday it's replacing its M&M spokes candies with actress Maya Rudolph after facing right-wing criticism over its mascot makeover. Okay, then we're going to go further into the article, and it says the original colorful cast of M&M spokes candies are at present pursuing other personalities, said Wesley. So everyone knows Wesley is Chief Marketing Officer Gabriel Wesley for Mars Candy. Okay. Then she goes on to speak in the article. Okay. Early last year, the Candies brand updated the cartoons and its marketing, rebranding each mascot with a new backstory, clothing, and personality to be more inclusive. The green M&M, for example, had previously drawn criticism for being marketed as too sexy. So the company switched her knee-high heeled boots for sneakers and put more emphasis on her feminist values. Orange became a mascot riddled with anxiety, and the company added a new purple M&M, which is designed to represent inclusivity. The rebrand caught the eye of conservatives, including Fox News host Tucker Carlson. At the time of the update, and again in recent weeks, with some claiming the makeovers were another example of liberal agendas gone too far. Last thing I'm going to read right here. In the last year, we made some changes to our beloved spoke candies. We weren't sure if anyone would even notice, and we definitely didn't think it would break the internet, M&M said in a statement Monday on Twitter. Now we get it. Even a candy's shoes can be polarizing. Therefore, we have decided to take an infinite pause on the spokes candies. I think that's just ridiculous. Listen, as I said, ladies and gentlemen, politics is bullshit. It's a beautiful distraction for those who believe we're being informed. And we're only given small bits of the information of the whole truth, and we extrapolate that truth to what we think is to be true. When it could be just bits and pieces, that's just the outer shell of what's really going on. Listen, if someone's going to honestly, truly nitpick a candy's shoes, nitpick a candy's eyewear, nitpick a candy's message, yet at the same time, these are the same people who want to exclude the history of a certain race and or culture, while simultaneously telling another political party, side, and their fan base, their following, they're too soft, they're too easily emotional, you get offended too easily. I think it's interesting how, again, this goes back to the case of it's usually those who provoke are the easiest to get offended. like you're walking around waiting to piss somebody off while simultaneously walking around easily being able to get pissed off. So it's almost like you want to return the energy that you feel you're being received. And this is why I tell people, man, when you get into conversations, the most important thing you can do is not focus on the what, but it's also focus on the why. Why is this happening? Why is this an issue? Why is this continuing? And that's the problem. We focus on the what versus focus on the why. So you want to get rid of candies because they are too woke, and you also want to get rid of a certain course being taught in schools unless you can teach the history, the perspective you believe to be true. Shit's funny to me. It's comical to me. But anyway, what's your take on M&M candies being too woke? Do you feel that they are? Do you feel it's petty? Do you feel it's unnecessary? Do you feel that it is needed? Do you feel that it's a good thing? What is it that you feel when it comes to this topic? You can respond to the post that I put on Instagram or Twitter. Again, the E.I.T.H.R, T-H-E, E-I.T.H.R. Now, the next thing I want to discuss real briefly. I put a post on Twitter, and I'm going to read you this tweet because I think the shit's really funny as well. And it says, why is it when the person you know tells you a story where they were the victim, we're quick to aid and or side with them? Yet, when we hear the side of the story from the other person involved, quickly, we throw our hands up and be like, oh yeah, I don't want to get involved. Has anyone ever experienced that too? Right? An example. Someone tells you someone says something about someone somewhere. And that immediately, especially with a person that you don't like already, or it's about a person that you're fond of, you immediately jump into that conversation. He said what? She said what? Oh, hell no. See, here's what I think about that motherfucker. Now, the person that you're talking to is talking about person B. You and person A are having this conversation. You're having this dialogue. Well, then one day person B comes into the mix, and naturally you're going to have your bias towards what happened between A and B based on the side that A has told you. Try to keep it simple for you guys to be able to follow this shit. So, when person B gives you their side of the story, you start noticing there are holes that person A didn't fill. And your whole support for A, internally, you feel it. You feel that hole start to shift. That whole feeling you had, that whole support start to dwindle. But it's interesting because when you hear person's B side of the story, then all of a sudden it becomes, oh yeah, I don't want to get involved in that. Why is that? Why do people do that? Shit, have you done that? I know I have. I've heard a story from a friend, and naturally I want to support that friend. Then when I hear the story of the person that my friend was talking about, I realize, oh, my friend was the antagonist. My friend provoked it. That's like when someone does something, someone's helping you move, or somebody is in the kitchen doing something, or they're in the garage doing something, and something breaks. And then you're like, what happened? And they're like, oh, it just broke. It didn't just break. You broke it. But you couldn't admit that you broke it because you can't be at fault. And I think that's where this comes from. Because a lot of people feel, if I tell you the whole story, you're going to realize I created it. So I have to be the victim. Then they want to manipulate you into saying, well, if you're going to believe them, then you're not my friend. I know this shit sounds like junior high school, but really some adults are junior high students, but in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. Why is it hard for people to sit back and tell the whole story? Once I realized this about 10 years ago, and it was an adjustment. It was an adjustment. But I had to make sure, if I'm going to tell you the story, I got to tell you what I did too. Because maybe I did some shit that I didn't even realize I did to provoke the situation. And that has happened. Where I may have said something in a certain tone, didn't even realize that's what sparked the controversy. And then you get somebody who says, when you said this, it came off like this. And there's a difference between a good friend and a best friend. Because a best friend is going to tell you you're always right. A best friend is going to tell you they're always wrong. A good friend is going to say, nah, you fucked up right here. This is where you messed up at. Or this is why they think this. Because you have a tendency of saying this. And because I know you, I know what you mean. But if people don't know you, they don't understand you. They don't know you well enough. Has anyone else been in a situation where you said something and someone attacked you or someone snapped at you? Have someone ever told you a story where when you're hearing the story, looking back at it, you say, nah, I can see where they started the shit? Do you have people who do that to you now? Kind of funny, right? You got to be aware of that, man. You got to hear the whole story. I usually ask people, okay, so what did you do? Nothing. First thing comes out of their mouth, I'm like, I know you fucking lied. I just know it, right? Because that's usually what people say when they are guilty of doing something is, I didn't do anything. So, that's usually what that turns into. Has anyone else had a situation where you were lied to your face on a regular basis and people just kept the story going? What did you do with that person when you found out that he, she, or they were lying about something? Did you bring the topic back up? Did you let the topic go? What say you? What did you guys do? I just want to know. If you can, respond back to the post on Twitter or the Instagram. Now, the last thing I'm going to talk about today is really funny, but it's not funny at all. A lot of us believe in conspiracy theories. Some more so than others. But you have to understand, ladies and gentlemen, these theories, they come from somewhere, right? That's why it's a theory. Something was seen, something was witnessed, something was said, and it created this dialogue or this thought to be provoked. And when there's multiple people who feel the same thing, okay, now it's a conspiracy, right? I hate this damn platform. I swore I was never going to get it, but I got it. And there's a rabbit hole of all rabbit holes. But there's a lot of gems on there as well. Most likely, same with any other social media platform. So I came across this one video on TikTok. And it speaks on she's a former person for DARPA, DARPA. And this item was made by MC10. I want you to imagine a barcode, like a tattoo. And with this tattoo, it's a tattoo of authentication, which is crazy. So with this tattoo of authentication, She even makes mention in the video how most people who are in their 30s or 40s or older most likely won't even think about getting this thing. But there are people who in their late teens, 20s, who possibly would get this thing. And with this tattoo, just to piss off their parents. So, with that said, I want you to imagine this barcode where you scan to authenticate, and it doesn't necessarily have to be an external scan. In this video, man, there was a pill. She said it was like an inside out potato battery. That was the description she gave. And in this pill, you swallow this pill and your whole body becomes an authentication. And she gave us a description of how your arms would feel, how your hands would feel, how your body would feel. Where you would touch your phone, you would touch your computer, you would touch your car, you would touch all these different appliances. And that would authenticate you. It was a vitamin. And they called it vitamin authentication. I want you to fucking imagine in the next, we'll say it's 30 years, where you pop a pill, and this pill, as she says, gives you this superpower. So instead of you having to type in passwords, instead of you necessarily having to key anything in a layman's term, think of your entire body becomes this one big biometric print to authenticate whatever is set up for you to need to authenticate, to have access to. That's wild to me. I understand the benefits of that. I understand how dope that would be. I promise you. That will be some cool shit. To pop a pill and that's your biometric to get your car. That's how you start your car. That's how you get in your home. And if the authentication doesn't match what you have set up, people have no access to it. That's tight. But here's the problem with that. At least this is what theory I have. How easy are you to track? Because the only way for you to enter places is for you to be authenticated with these places. Now, these things obviously have a motherboard, and they have ways for it to be controlled by third-party people in charge. Do you know how, I won't say how scary that shit would be, but it definitely would be interesting if you can't get into your house because you forgot to take your pill, which is inside. Right? You can't get into your car because your body didn't digest the vitamin authentication. In addition, what's the side effect of the pill? What's that like? I mean, is that cool? Like, well, how do they know a person's body would handle that, would deal with that? What do you guys feel? What do you think? Is that a smooth move to do? Is that something you're like, no, that shit would be dope. I just pop a pill for homebodies. Would you mind doing something like that? For security purposes, knowing that someone could take something of yours, but they can never use it because they're not authenticated for that. Assuming it gets to this point. Again, it started off with a vitamin. So, but my brain is saying it can also expand to these other ideas What say you guys? Do you think that's a good idea? Do you think that's a smart idea? Do you feel safe doing something like that? Me, myself, and I? Hell no. Because it goes right back to the Neuralink that Elon Musk is working on. I understand the convenience and the fun part of that thing. The problem with that, what if it goes haywire? What if, listen, hackers are always one step ahead of designers, of developers, right? Shit sounds funny. But what if you got a hacker who hacked into your Neuralink and played nothing but Coldplay and Nickelback and Kodak Black and Lil Yachty all day? That's all you had to hear. What if you're an atheist and someone hacks your Neuralink and they play nothing but Christian gospel music? How cool would that be? Right? The technology, man, it get to the point where I honestly truly feel, like the woman said in this video, that many people who are of a certain age, they're not going to agree to that. But you will get the younger, late teens and 20s who will do it just to piss their parents off. A friend of mine was in the military, and he says he remembers people on base trying to pay for their food. It was like the cashier didn't want to scan him, but eventually he had to scan it, and that's how he paid for his food. So a lot of this information, a lot of these projects, these ideas, these things they're already in the works. It's breaking news to the public because in most cases, I feel they're comfortable enough to let the world know it's here because it's that much closer to being released to the public on a smaller scale, of course. Would you be cool with doing a vitamin authentication? Is that something like barcode tattooed? I'm talking about, if you ever seen the movie E.I.T.H.R, hello. Imagine going someplace and you can't get in because you're not a scannable. You're not a scannable. That's crazy. That movie came out in 2005. And here it is, 2023, nearly 2 decades later. And we're already talking about scanning authentications on people. Vitamins authenticating you internally. How fucking crazy is that? Crazy in a good way, crazy in a bad way. But what do you guys think about that? Listen, I'm going to leave you guys on that note. Because to me, that shit's just wild. Anyway, this is your boy Decal from the HQ for GNS Inc. here in Northern California. Holla back on the social media, man. Instagram and Twitter at the E.I.T.H.R. YouTube for the GNS Inc. Subscribe to the page. Show some love. Appreciate you guys. And I'll check you guys out next time. Be good.